Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the second episode of my little podcast, where we are an anime podcast. We talk everything about anime, anything anime related. Um, to I was planning on doing one last week, but I started using the Zoom app, and I used it on my phone, and it wasn't showing me the record function that everyone was talking about. So I decided to hold off on the episode and do more research. And it turns out that on the phone, it doesn't give you the option to do the recording function, only on like computer or desktop or laptop. So now I'm on my computer. As you can see, I am now recording. So we're all set to go. I did originally plan to have one of my friends join me. I don't know what she's doing at the moment. If she joins in later, that would be great. But uh, we will still continue on with or without, because I've really been wanting to talk about this topic since last week, and since I couldn't do it, I'm still gonna go ahead and do it. It would have been, interesting to get her point of view on it, and like I said, if she decides to join in a little later on, then we'll do that. But for the moment, let's just continue start. So first, I thought we'd talk about some news, anime news. Really, it's still the same from when I did my first podcast. The only real major news was the fall anime that's coming out, which would be My Hero, which I believe comes out tomorrow. The first episodes start premiering tomorrow, so that's very interesting. Of course, knowing that it's probably just a sub version that's coming out, but nowadays you can get the dub pretty much like 2 3 days right after the sub episodes come out. Sometimes they wait a few episodes before the dub starts releasing, but yeah, it's not a long wait like before. So that's interesting. So My Hero, definitely looking forward to that. Next, it would be the Seven Deadly Sins. There's another one I'm really interested in, looking forward to. But when the dub, releases, the dub released pretty fast for the last two seasons, so I'm not all that impatient to wait for the dub to start releasing. I'm pretty sure it'll be released pretty soon. Um, that's basically it. The news is still the same, just waiting for, all the new fall animes to, start up. Maybe I'll check out a few of the newer ones besides My Hero and the Seven Deadly Sins. But that's basically it. So today, uh, the topic I was originally going to do was the favorite girl anime characters or girls in anime that I like. And that was gonna be last week because then this week we would have just done guys or male animes that we like. But since last week I couldn't do it, I decided to combine the two. So first I'm going to go with the girls first. Talk about my favorite girl anime characters. And honestly the list was pretty long. Not as long as the guys, because let's be honest, there are more guys in anime than there are girls. And if there are girls, it's mostly in the harem animes or, animes for, kind of for guys, basically. But there are some, don't get me wrong, there are some pretty badass girl anime characters, and I'm going to talk about a few. Warning, there will be some spoilers because I can't really go into detail on why I like the character without talking about, whatever show they're from. So for anyone who maybe doesn't want any spoilers for any of these characters, uh, I'll try not to, but it's gonna be pretty hard not to talk about them and then not talk about what they did in the show to why I like them so much. So first, I thought I'd just go by shows. So I figure we start with My Hero since that's coming up. And I liked all the main female characters, especially in the classroom. I liked all of them, but there were three that really, really stuck out to me. I was like, I like this girl. Like, she's cool. She's amazing. And if I was in the My Hero universe, I would definitely be friends with her. And the first girl is Uraraka, or Gravity Girl, or Infinity Girl, as they call her in the show sometimes. Her quirk is she anything she touches levitates, and she is the main female that's around the main character Midoriya, or Deku, as she likes to call him. And later, I'm not gonna try not to spoil too much, but she really does develop more throughout the series. She gets this huge fight scene in the second season, and it just changed her character. I liked her even more then, and she starts developing feelings for one of the guys in the class. I'm not gonna say who, but anyone who's watched My Hero knows what I'm talking about, and it's pretty obvious who she likes. I mean, she only really hangs around the two main guys, so you can take a crack at who you think that is, but most people know who I'm talking about. The other girl would be Sue, or Froggy, or whatever people like to call her. Basically, the girl with the frog powers. And honestly, when I first saw her, I was like, wow, this girl is OP, because she was probably the most capable out of all the girls there, besides like the three that came by recommendation. And she was just, she's funny. I love how she's always telling people, like, no, call me Sue. But they always call her by her, how in the show they call everyone by their last name. She's like, no, call me Sue. And if you don't call her by that, she gets mad and she's like, call me Sue. They're like, okay, okay. So, but she's funny, she's very strong, and she's super smart because in the second season she comes up with certain plans and whatnot that just shows like yeah, she's a pretty strong quirk and she knows what to do to use it to her advantage. So that just makes her even more amazing. The last main character I would like to talk about would be Momo Yazurozu. Sorry if I butchered that. Basically, she's the I mentioned just a little while ago. There were three characters that got in UA High by recommendation, and she was the only girl who got in by recommendation. And honestly, her quirk is pretty amazing as well. She can make anything from her skin, which is why she kind of wears the outfit that she wears because she needs her skin to make whatever she's doing. If she can't really do that, she's covered up from head to toe. But she's the smartest girl in the class. She's the richest girl in the class. Like, she is so oblivious. She's like, oh, yeah, I was just gonna go and do this, fly off to Europe for my family. And everyone in the class looked like, what? Europe? And she was like, you was gonna go fly to Europe? And then she was like, oh, yeah, my family's private jet. Don't you guys do that? I looked like, no, you're the only one that's rich enough to have their own private jet and just fly across the country whenever you want. And then I believe it's in the second season, they see her house and they're like, holy crap, we knew you were rich, but we didn't think you was this rich. Like, I don't know if she's like one of the rich, her family's like one of the richest in the city or something, or town, but like anyone who's seen that episode was like, holy crap, this girl is rich. Like, she could basically do whatever she wants, and she wants to be a hero. They really risk her life to be a hero. So it's like, wow. So it's like she's not one of them stuck up rich people that's like, oh, I'm rich, I can do what I want, you people serve me. She's like, no, I have a quirk that could help people, I'm gonna do it. Even if I'm rich, I'm gonna go out and risk my life and help people, which really, states her character. She also goes through a huge kind of arc change in the not arc change in the second season after what happened, and it just developed the character more. And I really, really liked her. But I just love how oblivious she is that, yeah, I'm rich. And she thinks everyone else is kind of like that. And they're like, no, you are one of a kind type of rich girl. We're not even on your level. Not even. All right, so that's for the My Hero people, the My Hero girls. Those are the three that I really, really like. Oh, don't get me wrong, I like the other girls too, but those three really stuck out to me. Um, the next series I'll talk about the Seven Deadly Sins. Honestly, in my opinion, there's mostly guys in the Seven Deadly Sins, especially at the first 2 seasons. Yeah, 2 seasons. But I would have to say that I really, really loved the only two girls of the Seven Deadly Sins, which would be Diane and Merlin. Which, first let's talk about Diane. Diane is, if anyone's not seen the Seven Deadly Sins, basically you've seen artwork. She is a giant. She's not normal size. She does look a regular girl, whatever, but she's like 10 feet tall. First time everyone sees her, they're like, holy crap, she's not a little girl. She's huge. And her crush on Meliodas in the first season was just hilarious. Nothing else mattered to her. She was just trying to get the man she loved, and he was not giving her any attention, at least not in that way. He was like, no, we're friends, we're comrades, we fight together, but I don't have those special feelings for you. And the fact that someone else in the team has feelings for her, she's totally oblivious because all she sees is Meliodas. So that was hilarious. And a sin wrath. No, not the wrath. That's Meliodas. She is the sin of envy. So, and her powers are just honestly, that the huge old mallet or whatever that thing is that she uses, that is OP. If I had a weapon, I would be that. Because she can control the earth without it. But with it, she becomes a beast. She is unstoppable with that thing. And that just, her character develops a lot throughout the rest of the series. But, and then, kind of don't want to spoil too much, but she kind of goes through this huge change. She doesn't like Meliodas anymore, but then she does again, and then it goes through a lot. But Diane, and I liked her relationship with the princess Elizabeth. At first, she didn't like her because Meliodas was always paying attention to her. She was like, "Why aren't you paying attention to me? I'm the one that likes you, not her." But in the end, she didn't really like humans, and that was the first human she really befriended. She was like, you know what? You're pretty cool, pretty nice. Let's be friends. And normally Elizabeth called everyone, oh, Sir Meliodas or Lady, but no, they were on first name basis, like Diane and Elizabeth. Everybody else called her Princess or whatever. They were like, no, we tight like that. You can call me by my name. I really like that. And the other girl of the seven deadly sins would be Merlin. Now, anyone who's heard of King Arthur knows that there's so many different variations of Merlin. So it was pretty interesting to see that they made this Merlin a girl, and a pretty one at that. What she wears barely covers, but she not only is she super pretty, she is strong as hell. Like she is OP. I mean, it's Merlin. What you expect? but her magical powers, she could cancel people's magic. She could double her magic so it's stronger. Like she's always coming up with ways to improve her magic, and basically she is unstoppable. I wouldn't be surprised if she was like top, like really up there on like who the strongest of the Sins are, because her magical power by far is like the strongest of everyone there, in my opinion. Because she could do basically anything with her magic powers. But yeah, that's basically it. I really just like the sins, the two girl sins of the seven deadly sins. Okay, so let's get off the first two and let's talk about the Fate Stay Night series. Now, if anyone's seen the picture I have up off on my podcast, if anyone goes to my Facebook, anyone who's seen me already knows I'm a huge Fate Stay Night fan. And my favorite overall of the three girls has to be Rin Tosaka. Y'all can fight me, y'all can tweet me, Facebook me, talking about, oh no, Saber is better, or no, Sakura is better. No, no, no. I'm not saying Saber or Sakura are not good in their own right. But if I had to pick one of the three girls to befriend or even become, if I had to be one of the Fate Stay Night girls, I would be Rin Tosaka. Hands down. Because not only is she a very powerful mage, she's a very unique one. Because normally mages can only use like one, two, maybe even three of the basic elements. She can use all five from birth, which is rarer in itself than like using three or four. She uses all five. Then that itself makes her a pretty strong and powerful mage. And of course, even though she was disappointed, she summoned Archer. Now, come on now. Any girl who's watched Fate Stay Night, would you really be upset if you got Archer? No, I don't think so. Like, yeah, I'll get more about him in my mail list, but basically you have an OP. I'm not gonna spoil who he is if anyone's haven't seen Fate Stay Night. Not the original, the Unlimited Blade Works. The Unlimited Blade Works, is her route. So it really goes into her, and it really goes in about Archer and who he really is. So if anyone hasn't seen it by this point, I'm not gonna spoil who he is, but once you see the TV series, the Unlimited Blade Works, you get more in the depth of who he is, what he does, and you're just like, wow, she has no idea the type of servant she summoned, and she was mad that she didn't get Saber. But I like her abilities to use the gems like that. That's pretty cool. Them things are like mad expensive. I would like to use that ability. That's pretty nice. Uh, and she comes from one of the three main families that started the Grail War. The Tosakas, the Einburns, and the now Matos. But so the fact that she comes from a very powerful bloodline of mages just even shows even more OP on how she is. So hands down, y'all can fight me. Rin Tosaka, best girl. Now, I would say my second favorite would have to be Saber. I mean, hello, it's King Arthur, and she's a girl. How everyone's like, oh, King Arthur was the boy, he was this, he was that. So I loved how fate changed and it was like, yeah, no, the King Arthur you all knew, yeah, it was actually a girl this whole time. And I was like, first time I saw that, I was like, wait, it's supposed to be King Arthur, right? Why does it sound like a girl? Why does he look like a girl? I was like, holy crap, they changed him into a girl. That is amazing. And I did not watch the TV series of the Fate Stay Night because honestly, in my opinion, I didn't like it. I just saw the walkthroughs or playthroughs that people did of the Fate route. I like that way better. So I saw that. But how kick-ass she is in that's her own route, how she is at the Unlimited Blade Works route, and even her play in the Heaven's Field, which I've only seen the first one. Like I've said in my first podcast, I've seen the first one. I'm still waiting for the second one to come out in the dub, but I believe the Blu-ray said was coming out like November or something when I last checked. I mean, that's like a month away. I could wait. Like I said, I got other stuff I could watch until that comes out. But if I really, really want to watch it, then I'll just watch it. But Saber does play a major role in all three routes, especially her own route. But it shows like the Saber class, that's why they're as strong as they are, because their abilities are off the charts. So if I had to choose, yeah, Saber, I would like if I was Rin, I would have been mad that I didn't get Saber as well. You know, you did get a pretty amazing survey and you just didn't realize it till like the end. But who wouldn't want to get a female King Arthur? Like an OP female King Arthur. Like who wouldn't want to get that? So, yep, that's now don't get me wrong, I don't want anybody coming at me be like, oh, you didn't talk about Sakura or honestly, in my opinion, I don't hate her. If anything, I feel like I relate to her kind of the most because she's a caretaker. She wants everybody to get along. But it's like, oh my god, if anything, I just feel so sorry for that poor girl because she has gone through so much. And it's just like, I'm surprised you didn't snap sooner than you did for anyone who, already caught up on the Seven Fields route, the Sakura route. You know basically everything she's gone through, all the torture and torment from, oh my god. Anyone who's seen like Fate Zero, you know what she's gone through. If anyone's seen, they don't really talk about her that much in the Unlimited Blade Works route, but they do hint a little bit in the Fate route of what happens to her, and then it really goes in the depth of what she's been going through in the Heaven's Field route. And it's just like, oh my god, poor thing. You just you gone through way too much, and you were too sweet for this world. You can't. Like, that's why I don't hate Sakura, if anything. Anytime I hear her story, I feel like crying because I'm like, oh my god, you poor, poor thing. You've gone through way too much. Like, the world is too evil for someone like you to be living in it. And you just got the most terrible, worst end of the stick on that. Like, holy crap. Excuse me. It's making me touchy. Alright. So, next, I would want to talk about the Full Metal Alchemist. I now don't judge me on this, but most people are basically kind of split on this as well. They're like, oh, which version did you like better? Did you like the Full Metal, Full Metal Alchemist TV series, the first one that came out in like 2003 or something? I can't remember. Or did you like the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which came out like years after? Me personally, I first saw the Brotherhood one first, and I was like, "Holy crap, this is good!" And I saw another one. I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And basically, it's the first one that I saw the second one, then I saw the first one, and then I saw the movie that kind of wraps up the first one, and I was like, "Huh." They changed it up. I was like, why did they do that? And then I realized I watched it backwards. I saw the second one first, then the first one. I was like, oh, the the one I saw second was actually the first one, but then the one I saw originally was the one that they remade to follow the original source material. So I was like, okay. Now don't get me wrong, I liked both, and there are certain parts of both that I liked, but overall, I like the Brotherhood one way better than the original. But don't get me wrong, the original one still hold a pretty good, pretty close second. But there was two characters I wrote down that I really liked. And I was hearing yesterday I was at work and I heard a podcast from the Generation Animation. Hi guys, if any of you guys hear this, I love listening to you guys' podcast when I'm at work. But and I was listening to them review the Brotherhood, and of course, they talked about Rinri Rockbell, the childhood friend of the Elric brothers, the one who made the automail for Ed, and basically the love interest for Ed, even though he kind of denies it throughout the whole series until like the very end when he basically proposed to her. But Winry was she was pretty OP in her own right because she made the automail for Ed, giving him giving him an arm and a leg when he lost his originally, and stayed at home, took care of the her family, which is her grandmother and her dog, then traveled out to improve her automail so that she could help Ed and Edward. I mean, Ed and Edward. Ed, Ed and Alphonse as much as she could. And she was just like, no. She wanted to help as much as she could, even though she knew there was very little she could do. But she was like, if I can help, I'm going to help. She was just, I feel like I connected the most with Winry, and I just loved throughout the series. She was just friends with the boys, and the really developing feelings for Edward and falling for him. And there were times she was like, how in the world did I fall for this guy? Like, what is wrong with me? But then he would do something and be like, that's why. That's why I love him. Because of this. But and then the other girl who I really, really liked, which I've heard throw people on YouTube or whatever debate about this between the two girls. Riza Hawkeye. Oh my god. The main sniper of the show. Hands down. That girl and her gun abilities are off the freaking chain. Like, oh my goodness gracious. And the fact that she puts up with Roy Mustang all the time, and she's just so serious, and she takes her job very seriously. And then later on, you find out that her dad was the one that mentored Roy into the flame alchemy and all that. And oh my goodness. And her relationship with Roy, I really liked because they really depended on each other. They cared about each other. I honestly, in my opinion, I really wanted them to get together in the end because I was like, oh my god, you guys are basically made for each other. Just stop it and get married. Like, oh my god. But listening to the Generation Animation people talk about the Brotherhood had me realizing, holy crap, how could I forget? Oh, what was her name? Olivia Armstrong? The Armstrong's older sister and the one who ended up taking over the family. Nah, I said Winry and Hawkeye was OP. No, that woman is OP. Like she doesn't use any alchemy. Basically, she's kind of like Hawkeye in that way, but she runs her entire faction or her group of people the way she wants. Nobody can tell her what she can or can't do. She'll do what she thinks is best for her men and the thing is that they really, really respect her, that they will go above and beyond for her. That just shows the determination and the power she has. And then the fight scenes she was in, or the few times she took down a few crooked, military people, or whenever she was um, talking down to Edward or Alphonse, I laughed my head off. I was like, this woman does not care. She will say whatever she wants, and you cannot talk back. Her word is law, basically. So yeah, those were the three characters I really, really liked in Full Metal. I mean, like it's kind of the same as what was the other one? The Seven Deadly Sins. There wasn't really a lot of girls in there girls in general, but there were a few girls that were in there made a huge impression on me that I really liked. Okay, next series I'm going to talk about is Fairy Tail. Okay, I really liked all the girls in Fairy Tail. I liked Levy. I liked what's her name? Juvia? Juvia, there we go. I like Mira Jane. I I I liked Kana. I liked all the girls in Fairy Tail. But there were three that really stuck out to me, and those were the three main girls. We had Lucy Heartfilia, the Celestial Wizard. I want her gate so bad. I actually ordered the cancer one because I am a cancer. I ordered the cancer key from the Wish app. It was like I got like $1 or something. When they were selling the set, but I didn't have enough money for the set. So I was like, you know what? I'll just get the key for the cancer because I'm a cancer, and I'll just hang it on my phone or something. And it looks just like it did in the show. I carry it everywhere with me, and I'm hoping to collect the rest so I can have a set. But I love Lucy. She was basically the first character you were introduced to. Yeah, people like, oh, but she's not that strong and whatnot. Like, she's strong in her own right. Like, and she really cares about her friends. I mean, granted, she wasn't in Fairy Tail as long as some of the other characters, but her love for everyone there and her love for her guild was just as strong as if she was there from when she was a kid. No one can deny that. So I really, really loved and still love Lucy. Second is the only female dragon slayer in the entire series, which is Wendy Marvel. I absolutely adore Wendy. She is so freaking cute. I want Arcala plushie, something. I don't care. I want that. I want all the cats. I want Happy. I want Carla. I went to SuperCon this year and I saw a Frosh. I nearly freaked out. I was like, oh my god, I really want this Frosh. But I didn't get it. I will get one eventually. But I want that. I really want the Frosh. Okay, but Wendy. She is, like I said, the only female Dragon Slayer that you meet in like episode 53, 54. But at first, they don't know that she's a Dragon Slayer like Natsu. They just know that she has a very unique magical power coming from her. Then it's revealed, oh, she has healing ability. They're like, wait a minute, healing abilities? That's lost magic. No one can use that anymore. And then Carla was like, well, she is the Sky Dragon Slayer. She has an ability to where she can heal. And they're looking like, wait, what? So by then, you know Natsu, you know Gajiel. That's like, what? There's a female Dragon Slayer, and she has a pretty rare magical ability where she could heal people. Holy crap! And throughout the series, she just grows stronger after joining Fairy Tail, and she, you know, she sees Natsu and Gajiel, and she's like, well, I can't fall behind either. I'm a Dragon Slayer too. I have to step it up. And literally the last arc before the new season, last season started up, her major fight scene, I was like, yes, Wendy, you don't fall behind. You are just as capable as any of the other Dragon Slayers. And I just love how she's basically the only female Dragon Slayer. So that just makes her even more unique to me. But my overall most favorite fairy tale wizard has to be the Queen of the Fairies, Titania, Urza Scarlet. Now go fight me if y'all want. I love Urza. Freaking love Urza. First time I saw her, when everyone was talking about her, I was like, okay. I'm like, this chick sounds scary. And literally you see her and you're like, holy crap, this woman is beautiful with red hair. And I was like, Lucy, I was like, oh my gosh, she's pretty. She's really pretty. And then when you see her fight for the first time, you see her using her magic. I was like, Lucy, I fell in love. I was like, this girl is amazing. It's no wonder she is the strongest female in the entire guild. Like, no one can stand a candle to her besides maybe Loxus or, ooh, I forgot what his name was. Uh, it's, um, it's the guy who basically could destroy anything with one punch. No, he's not one punch, not Saitama. But I'm drawing a blank. I can't remember what his name was. It'll come to me. I can't remember. But basically, the three strongest, and of course, kind of like Wendy, how she's the only female Dragon Slayer among the strongest in Fairy Tail. She's the only strongest female, besides maybe Mira Jane. But Mira Jane goes through this whole thing, and then she can't control her powers, and But Urza stays being number one. That's why they call her the Queen of the Fairies, because she is the queen. Do not mess with the queen. So, the next series I want to talk about, is a series I really, really loved and got into a while back, and that is the Danganronpa series. Me personally, I did not play the games. I just saw the playthroughs, and let me tell you, I saw the original playthroughs. I saw them on I cannot say his thing right. Raps, you know what I'm talking about. Him and Nico B. They're the two main ones that I always watched, and even to this day, if I want to go back and rewatch Danganronpa playthroughs, I go back and I watch theirs because theirs are hilarious. And when I was watching it for the first time and I saw the cases and how the story was developing, I was like, oh my goodness. And it's such a huge cast. It's kind of like the Fate series. So there's so many different universes or so many different things that happen. So there's a whole group of cast that you like or don't like. And I was talking about the first one. The first game, the person who I liked straight off the bat was Kyoko Kirigiri, the original Ultimate Detective. I loved her story throughout the first game, how she was a detective and she helped out in the cases whenever she, chimed in. But she had her own mission. She wanted to find the headmaster, no matter what. And they were like, that made her kind of a target, because they're like, oh, you working for him or something? And she wouldn't tell. She didn't know if she could trust them. And ended up cutting the main character, Makoto, from the first game. And, you develop, a relationship with her. But she was just, she's the OP Ultimate Detective. So, and I am really into detective shows like that, so I really, really loved her when she first came. When I first saw her, and I was like, oh my god, it's a female detective. I love her already. And this may be a shock, well, maybe not really, because there are people who like this character. Juko Enoshima, the ultimate despair. That bitch is crazy. She is insane. She caused this worldwide just spread of just disaster and murder and pollution. and just for the kicks of it, just to be like, yes, spare. She didn't do it with no certain goal in mind. She didn't do it for money. She didn't do it for to control the world. She just did it just to do it, just because. But then her reactions in the first game and how she tells the characters, "Oh, this is the truth y'all was seeking," and it turns out it was totally wrong. Y'all trying to do all this, and this is the result. And they're looking like, you crazy bitch. Like, what is wrong with you? It's like, nothing. That's just how I am. And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy. That's it. There's no explain for crazy. You just crazy. And everything she puts them through in the first and in the second game, I was like, oh my god, somebody kill this bitch. But I really liked her character. I loved how she just, how like OP she was. It's like, you was a normal high school girl and you caused all this death and destruction, and no matter what anyone does, you're like 10 steps ahead of them, and it's just like, what? How is that physically possible? But and then she keeps coming back even after she dies, and it's just like her spirit basically just lives on and continues to spread despair. It's insane. Okay, the second character, well, no, third character I talk about is from the second game. Now, anybody can fight me on this, but I know that a lot of people do like her as well. I'm talking about the ultimate gamer, Chiaki Nanami. I love Chiaki with a passion. She was adorable. I want her backpack so bad. I've searched up on so many websites to find anyone who's selling it just so I can have it. I am even thinking of dressing up as her when I go to the next SuperCon next year, because I love her. I love her reaction. I love her, not reaction, I love her interactions in the second game. How she is, how she helps the main character, Hajime Hinata, in that one. And her death scene, her, like, not the final, the before final trial in the second game, and how it all wrapped up, and how she ended up being the one who did it, but she didn't really do it. And you're like, what? Like, no. But and if anyone who's seen Danganronpa must have seen the anime series, and I'm not talking about the first one. I mean the And to Hope's Peak or something like that, the Despair arc. Oh my god. Oh Jesus Christ! Just thinking about it makes me sad, because her death scene in the game is nothing compared to her death scene in the Despair arc of the Danganronpa 3 anime. I cried so hard on that episode. I can't remember what episode it was. It was like the third or fourth before the last episode. Like, no, like the third one before the last episode. Oh my god, her death scene. I cried. I cried so hard. I was like, oh my god, how can you do that to my girl? And she just wanted to help. She wanted to help her friends, but that's exactly what made her a target for Junko. It's like, oh, everyone looks up to you. Everyone depends on you. I'm gonna kill you in the most brutal, effed up, can't believe you just did that way. That makes them all fall into despair and work for her. It's like, oh my god, you were their hope, but you were also the thing that brought them to despair. Terrible. That's what made me want to hate. That's what made me really hate Junko at some point. I was like, bitch, you just killed my Chiaki. What? And you did it such a brutal, just, what? No. No, I can't. I can't even. Just thinking about it makes me want to cry. Um, and last character I want to talk about from the Danganronpa series is the only female main character or main protagonist, from the new, well, not new, but the last Danganronpa game, Danganronpa V3, Kaede Akamatsu, aka the Ultimate Pianist. I really was surprised. I honestly wanted to buy a PlayStation or a PlayStation Vita just so I could play the game when it came out. Because I was like, what? There's a female protagonist? Because if anyone's seen the last two games, it's always been a male. The fact that this is the first Danganronpa game where the girl's the main character, I was like, oh no, I need to buy this. But I ended up not getting it, but I did see the playthroughs, and I don't want to spoil what happens because it's still it's not really a good game. I mean, not good, it's an amazing game. Everybody who's into Danganronpa needs to play that game. But I don't want to spoil what happens, to her character, but she plays a huge role in the game, especially the last trial. Oh my god. When you find out what happens in the last trial, you're just like, what? You're like, no, that's what really happened? And then, because of that, that was the result. And oh my god. They really did a flip on that one. I was like, no way. I was shocked when I first saw the playthroughs of it, and it revealed what really happened in the first case. I mean, yeah, spoilers, first case. I was like, what? Oh my god. I felt so, oh my goodness gracious. I kind of revealed it, that they go back to the first case, but I'm not gonna tell you what happens, because you really have to see it for yourself to get the feeling of, damn. And I thought Junko was bad. The mastermind in the third game? Holy shit, they're even worse than Junko. Cause that's insane. Um, okay, let's go through this pretty fast. I mean, it's kind of hard when you're talking about characters you really like, but um, I really liked Asuna from Sword Art Online. Y'all can fight me. I love Sword Art Online. I like the first half. I did like the second half. There were some episodes I did skip, I'm not gonna lie. But I did like the second half, the Alfheim Online. I did see the Gun Gale Online, not the new one that came out with like a different girl. I mean, no, the one that has Kirito in it with the new girl. I did see the second half of the second season. I have not watched the new one, the Alicization one. I've been meaning to watch it, and now that the second part of that's coming out, I'm gonna have to watch it so I can catch up. So, but I love Sword Art Online, and I love Asuna because she was second in command of the most powerful guild when she was in Sword Art, so you knew her skills were like top notch. And then she ends up falling for the strongest solo player in the game. And then they just go through so much. People trying to tear them apart. People trying to brainwash them so that they could, use them for their own advantages and whatnot. And they're like, no, we're not gonna let you do that. It's our lives. We can do what we want. And damn it, we were in a death game for 2 years. Y'all ain't got nothing on us. Um, Akame got killed. That's another one anime I really, really liked. Though, I don't know. I want to just put it out there, but who knows? Whoever might listen to this might bring it to fruition. For the people who made the first Akame got killed, they should do what they did for Brotherhood and remake it, but remake it following the anime. I mean, the manga, because at some point it does follow the manga to like episode like 20, 21. Then like the last like 3, 4 episodes follow something totally different from the manga. And when the manga finished and I read it all, I was like, oh no 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 no. They need to do what they did for Full Metal Alchemist and remake it following the how the manga ended. Because how the manga ended, I was like, oh no, no, no. That was a way more interesting and better ending than the anime. The anime ending was pretty good. But the manga ending, was like 10 times that. So hey, anybody listening out there and was like, hey, yeah, the Comic Got Killed manga was pretty good and how the ending was way better. You need to remake that. Remake that, please. Please. But I did like a comment. I loved her sword, but knowing me, I get hurt on the tiniest thing without even realizing it. I probably would end up killing myself on her on that damn Muramasa. Yeah, Muramasa. One cut, poison enters your body, you're dead. No, 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 no. Like she said in like I think like episode 2 or 3, she was like cleaning it is a bitch because if I cut myself, I'm dead. I really liked mine. I liked her gun. I like how it doesn't really rely on actual bullets. It relies on her spiritual energy. So and the more danger she's in, the stronger it becomes. People would think when she's first firing at you, this gun is nothing or nothing. You corner her, that thing gets like a 10-time power boost and you're dead. So and I really loved her. If I'm telling people, please remake it and follow the manga, because her relationship with Tatsumi takes a total 180 than it did in the anime. So I was like, no, they need to do that. They need to do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. But yeah, and another character I really liked that I noticed a lot of people didn't really like that much. I liked Chelsea. I don't know, maybe because I liked her Imperial Arms or her Tengu, how it was basically just a box of makeup, but she was able to transform into anyone she wanted. And by doing that, she was able to get close to like super powerful targets that any of the other members of Night Raid would have to literally fight to the death. She could just transform into the person, get super close to them, be all buddy buddy, and then dead, dead. They wouldn't even know what hit them. They would think their friend attacked them or something. But oh my god, her death scene. Oh my Jesus. That had honestly all the death scenes in Akame ga Kill are pretty up there. Pretty like holy shit. Like wow. But her death scene really hit me. Cause I was like, yo, first her fingers were shot off and her imperial arms was destroyed. Then her her right arm got cut off. Then she got shot in the heart or close to the heart, shot in the chest basically. Then she was chopped up into pieces. And then to make it matters worse, they stuck her head up on a pole in the middle of a town to display people do not go against the empire or you will get what this girl got. And all you see at first you're like you see from Toxic point of view, you see a trailer, but first time I saw that I was like, oh shit, she's dead. She's so dead. But then you see the blood dripping from the pole and you just are watching Tatsumi's reaction like, what the fuck? You're like, no. And you see him go up and up and up, and all you see is her decapitated head. And you see the blood on her face, and the blood from her head is dripping down to the pole. And everybody's watching, like, holy shit, they just mutilated this girl and stuck her head up on a pole for display to be like, don't rest with the Empire. Oh my god. That had to be the most fucked up death in the entire anime. Because I was like, yo, it's bad enough you did all that to her. Then you chop her up and you disrespect her by putting her head on a pole to display people don't mess with the Empire? I was like, no. That's messed up. Mm-mm. I mean, a lot of death scenes are pretty raunchy, but that one really got me, and I was like, no. And I liked her. I liked her Imperial Arms. I want her Imperial Arms. That was pretty cool. But yep, those are the characters I liked from Akame ga Kill. I liked Leone, but eh, she didn't really play that big. She didn't really have that much huge roles. I mean, granted, she did last longer than most of the other characters. But in my opinion, she was basically just like the strong powerhouse because her Imperial Arms gave her close combat. You know, made her super strong to whatever beast her Imperial Arms was made from. But yeah, what she did to the Emperor and the manga and the anime was pretty good. What she did to the Emperor and the manga, oh my god, I was like, yes, girl, yes. That's what they should have done to him. He got easy. He got the easy way out in the anime. Let me tell you that much. You read the manga and you see what happens to him, you're like, yeah, that's what you get, you evil son of a bitch. I liked Shauna from Shakugan no Shana. I don't know, maybe I just have a thing for anime characters with red hair. But she was really strong and cool. And then throughout the series, I liked how when she was falling for the main guy, you would think people were like, oh, you can't do that, it's gonna make you weak. It's like, no, that just made her stronger, gave her a reason to fight for, a reason to keep living. So that really made it something for me. Um, Bleached. I really liked Rukia. I loved Rukia. And I loved Orihime and Yoichi. Yeah, Yoichi. Now, people will be like, oh no, Rukia was best girl. Oh no, Orihime was best girl. I liked both girls in both in concept. I liked Orihime's power. I liked how she was kind of like the backseat, but at the same time, she played a huge role in the show. Especially after she gets kind of half kidnapped, and everybody's risking their lives to save her. And it's the same thing with Rukia. Rukia was like she was a soul reaper. She was strong, but when she gets taken back to the Soul Society and they're trying to kill her, and it's a huge plot, and it's like, what in the world? I just have some people like, no, Ichigo should end up with Rukia or end up with Orihime. Honestly, I'd have been fine with either. The thing is, if he ended up with any of the two girls, I would have been pissed. I'd be like, dude, what is wrong with you? How'd you choose some random girl over these two amazing, strong girls that were with you from jump? And I liked how Orihime at first, she just saw um Ichigo as a friend, but as time went on, she started realizing, no, I don't just see him as a friend like I would with Uryu or Chad. No, I have feelings for this guy. I like him. And I think it's the same thing with Rukia. Like, they were like, he's something more. He's not just a friend. But yeah, and I like Yuichi. I like how she always changed the cat. I like how she was a former captain. I was like, what? She was a strong one too. So I was like, holy crap! Like she taught Byakuya and the other captain, the other female, the one of the other female captains now of the Soul Society. And I was like, damn. So you basically taught two of the now captains that took your places. Like that just shows how strong she really is and how they didn't stand a chance against her. Like, yeah, you're captain stuff, but you forget she was a captain before and taught y'all. So she knows what she's doing. Um, I really I like all the Sailor Scouts. I never really had a favorite of the Sailor Scouts. Each one of them had a characteristic or something about them that made me like all of them. So there was never really one particular Sailor Scout that was like, oh, I want to be her. I liked going off the original names I grew up with. I liked Serena. I liked how she was the crybaby of the group, but she was when push come to shove, she was always there for her friends. She wasn't gonna let people, harm innocents just for their own purpose game. I liked Amy. I liked how she was super smart, super, she kept to herself, but then Serena pulled her out of her shell and was like, hey, you could be fun, you could be chill, you could be this. I liked Ray. I liked all the girls. Like they all had different reasons or different aspects about them that just made me like all of them. And I don't know. I just love Sailor Moon. I'm a huge Sailor Moon fan. I think I talked about this in my first podcast. One of my aunt's friends gave me some posters for my birthdays a while back. The more paper ones, so they ripped. But I do have one that's still sitting up in my room to this day of Sailor Moon, Super Sailor Moon, and Super Sailor Chibi Moon. That's for what season is that? 4? The Super Sailor Moon, the season, the Dream season, yeah. But yeah, I never had a specific Sailor Scout that I liked. I liked all of them. And for the last girl characters, I would like to talk about Attack on Titan, Mikasa, and Annie. Now, Mikasa, that bitch is OP. Like, she's strong. Even from jump, from when they started doing training, they were like, oh yeah, this girl is a natural. She knows what she's doing. She's gonna F up some Titans. And her relationship with Aaron and how she tries not to make it seem like, oh no, we just grew up together. He's like a brother. Like, girl, who are you kidding? Everyone can tell you like him, you love him. You will risk your life for this boy. It's so obvious, and that doesn't even stop her from being such a badass Titan killer. So that just makes it even more amazing. But and then Annie, honestly, so far the only female that we knew so far. I mean, unless I haven't caught up to the second part of the third season, so I'll have to watch that. The only female we know that turns into a Titan. Her abilities? What? Now, don't get me wrong. When she killed off those teammates of Levi, I hated her. I was like, somebody should kill this. I didn't even know who it was her at the time. So I was like, somebody should kill this female Titan because she is out here killing these main characters or people you would think would be main characters. And they're like, oh, no, they're dead. All in like a split second. And then when you find out it's her, and then the thing is, you don't know what her story is really because when she gets captured, bitch just freezes herself. And you're like, oh my god. Ugh, she's amazing. She's strong but she just makes you want to know her story just that much more. You're like, oh my god. All right, that's pretty long. Jesus, that was like an hour. But that is my female list. I'm gonna go through my male list pretty fast. I don't want this to be too long. I will stop at some point to talk about certain characters. But for my male list, for Bleach, I did like Ichigo. I thought he was hilarious. Anytime he was get angry, I was crying of laughter. He was freaking hilarious. But my most top favorite guy of Bleach would have to be Rukia's brother-in-law Yagi, he married his sister, Byakuya Kuchiki. I was a fan. I loved him. I was like, he was amazing, and I love his um what is it? His sword, his bankai, whatever. How it's sakura cherry blossom petals, but they're like sharp as a nail, and they will cut you up into pieces and ribbons. And I fell in love. I was like, oh my god, you is amazing. I just love him. I love Byakuya Kuchiki. Um, mhm. I liked all the guys, all the male sins from the Seven Deadly Sins. So I love Meliodas, I love Bond, I love King, I love Golter. But the last season really stuck it out in how you like Escanor. Holy shit, Escanor is amazing. Like, it's no wonder, like, if I literally had to make a list of who the strongest sins were, in my opinion, if Escanor did not have his little, period to where he can't use his powers and he turns to that scrawny man, he would most definitely be the strongest member of the Seven Deadly Sins. And there were times when I was like, this guy is strong as hell. How is he not the captain? How is Meliodas the captain? But then you have to think about it, like, wait a minute. Meliodas can basically tap into his power whenever he wants. Escanor can only do it for a certain amount of time. I was like, okay, that makes sense why they would make him the captain. Because he can just tap into his power whenever. But Escanor was still pretty. He's a very, very close second up there of the who is the strongest sin. But I like King's pillow. I want his pillow so freaking bad. And his crush on Diane is the cutest thing in the world. Y'all can fight me if y'all want. But his relationship with Diane and the fact that even though he loves her, the fact that he is willing to like give her up so that she can have her own happiness, even if it's with someone he considers a friend like Meliodas, it's just like, oh my god, King, you are too sweet for this world. And Bond is just hilarious. Bond is just stealing shit whenever he feels like it, taking people's clothes, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? I like all the guys from My Hero. I love Midoriya, aka Deku, Deku for life. I love Ida. I love Todoroki is my guy. I love Todoroki. I want his powers so freaking bad. I mean, who wouldn't want to be able to control ice and fire? Like, what? It's like, you want to control fire? You want to control ice? You want to control both? What? Give me both. Um, People don't like the perfect guy. What's his name? I can't remember his name right now. But basically, the purple guy who can throw the stuff off his hair. Basically, the biggest pervert in the whole class. He cracks me up. Every time he's perving out on the girl, he pervs out on all the girls except for the one that's really kind of flat chested. And then she always hits him or beats him up, and then she's like, "Wait a minute, he didn't say anything about me. He said everything about all the other girls, but not me. Like, what the hell? What's your problem?" He was like, "Dude." But yeah, I liked all the guys. They're all pretty interesting. Even Bakugo. Even though Bakugo is the biggest jerk you will ever meet in your life, he is still pretty amazing in his own right. Pretty cool. But yeah, he needs to just work on his temper because I don't know how he expects to be a hero and he's yelling at people and threatening that he'll kill them. Like, dude, that's no wonder those man. Well, what happens in the third season? Excuse me. I like Tuxedo Mask. I grew up loving Tuxedo Mask. A lot of girls would say like Darien, aka Tuxedo Mask, aka Mamoru, was like the number one guy crush, which he kind of is. He still is. Um, I do like the Elric brothers from Full Metal. I did like Edward. Edward had to be laughing every time he got mad, or anytime anybody would make fun of his how short he was, or when people would be like, "Oh, we have your girlfriend," he'd be like, "Girlfriend, what girlfriend?" Like, the mechanic girl, and he would flip out and be like, "That's not my girlfriend." It's like, dude, yes, she is. Your reaction basically just gave it away. I like Alphonse. Alphonse was like the sweetest, the kind one of the two brothers. I loved Roy Mustang. He was he was pretty funny in his own right in certain parts. And I was like, dude, how did you use a general or a colonel or he's a colonel. Like, how did you make colonel? Like, oh my god. And I love Huge, rest in peace Huge. Oh my god. His death scene in both series still hits me. Even to this day, and I'm like, even when I rewatched the first one and they showed his death scene, I still cried. I was like, oh no, no, stop it. I like the guys from Fairy Tail. I love Natsu. I have a quick story about that. I actually, at the SuperCon this year, I met the guy who does Natsu voice, Todd Happcorn. If you, I mean, you probably meet a million and one people a day, but I was the girl who was the Rinto Osaka. But I love, he does so many amazing voices. And when I was already planning on going, but then when I saw on Facebook, they're like, oh, the guy who does Death the Kid and Natsu from Fairy Tail is showing up. I was like, oh, hell no, I need to go. I was like, I'm playing no games. I literally went to work the next day and I put in my time. It was like, I need this weekend off. Do not play with me. I'm going. I'm meeting him. There's nothing you could do. I saved up my money and I was like, I'm going. Y'all can't stop me. I'm going and I'm meeting this man. I like Gray. I like, who else is there? There's Loxus, there's Gajil. I did like Sabretooth guys. I liked Sting. I like Rogue. I like Frosh, apparently. Lester. Um, Basically, I like all the main guys. The villains, not so much. The only one villain guy that I liked, even though later on you find out what his deal was. Jalal. Oh my god. Literally, him and Urza's relationship. I'm like, y'all just need to get together. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Damn it. Stop it. Oh my Jesus. From Fate. This is why I really want my friend. She talked about this with me. We both really, really, really loved Archer, and we really loved Gilgamesh. Like you saw Gilgamesh, you was like, oh, he's pretty cute or whatever. But then you find out he's a psycho who came from the previous war, somehow survived, and is causing mayhem in the Fifth World, Holy Grail War. And you're like, dude, you're hot, but Jesus. And then you meet Archer, who's the same way. You're just like, oh my god. And then when you find out who he really is, you're like, how did that happen? Like, what did you do to where you went from that to this? Like, goddamn. I liked Kirito, but I only liked Kirito when he's in his little game world. He turns like into this total like cocky jerk who's just strong and OP, but in the real world he's like this melodramatic, this kid, and you're like, dude. Go back to the game world. I guess is why he felt more comfortable in the game world, but he could be himself. But yeah, I guess I get it. I love Levi from Attack on Titan. First time I saw him, I was like, "You telling me this short little dude is in charge?" And when he first shows up and then he's beating the crap out of Eren, and I'm like, "Okay, do not mess with this short little dude. He will kill you." And then when you see him for the first time actually killing Titans and how effortlessly he does it, you're like, okay, now I know why you're in charge. Because you was a badass. You would just kill everybody in a split second. And like, y'all better not do anything to piss this man off or make him go rogue. Because if he does, y'all all dead. Hands point, dead. I liked Jimmy Kudo, aka Suichi Kudo, from the Case Closed Detective Conan series. Like I said, I really like detective shows. So when I saw Case Closed, I started watching it, and I was like, oh, it's pretty nice. And I liked the main character. So I liked how basically who wouldn't want a super smart Sherlock Holmes detective boyfriend? Like what? That'd be amazing. I mean, yeah, this get annoying. It would get annoying sometimes that that's all he ever talks about. Like, can you talk about something else sometimes, please? Please. Excuse me. Let's see. I liked all the main characters from Danganronpa, like the main cast, like the main lead, like Makoto, Naegi, Hajime Hinata. I liked Shuichi Sahara from the B3 because, like I said, the Kyo Kirigiri from my girls list was the main detective, the main, in my point, of first ever Ultimate Detective. And then when you get the V3, you're like, oh, there's a second Ultimate Detective? Like, that's never happened before. And every other game that's always been like, the only thing that's ever reoccurred was the Ultimate Lucky Student, which was in the first two games. You're thinking, oh, maybe that's what he'll be. And they're like, no, he's Ultimate Detective. What? Why'd they repeat that one? When you find out why, you're like, oh my Jesus Christ. I like Kokichi. Kokichi had me cracking up throughout the entire, whenever I saw any Let's Plays, Kokichi had me rolling, and I loved how Hiko B would always make do little skits pick Kokichi and make him even 10 times funnier than he already was. So I was like, oh my god, I'm like, Kokichi, he was a little shit, but he was a funny little shit. I like Keyboy, poor Keyboy, but it was just picking on Keyboy. He was like, I just want to be a real boy, even though I'm a robot. But what can you do? And the last people I want to talk about are from the Naruto series. I want to talk about the Uchiha brothers, Sasuke Uchiha and Itachi Uchiha. Now, a lot of people will probably be like, what? You like Itachi Uchiha? Why? He's done so much evil things to Sasuke. He's tried to kidnap Naruto for, his groups and their own plans. Trust me, once you get to Shippuden, and then you find out what his true goal was, what he really did for the village, your perspective of Itachi does a huge 180. You're like, oh my god! Like, the village really made you do all that? And then when Sasuke finds out, he's heartbroken. He's like, why? What? And, he's a kid, was a kid when all that happened. And it's just like, oh my Jesus. You poor thing. Like, honestly, in my opinion, if I was in Sasuke's hands, I probably would have done I probably would have had the same reaction if I found out everything I knew was just one big old lie, one big old conspiracy. And then the fact you later on find more about Itachi, about how he was like a top student too, like Sasuke. He was popular with the girls as well. He graduated mad early, got his Sharingan super early, and he was the son of, the head of the clan. So he would have been head of the clan. He would have been head of the Uchiha clan if, shit didn't hit the fan. But then his character keeps developing throughout the end, and then at the end, when he finally goes off, you're like, oh my Jesus Christ, Itachi, you was too nice for this world. You really were. And then there's Sasuke. I grew up watching the original Naruto before the Shippuden showed up, and any girl I ever saw was like, "Oh, hey, do you watch Naruto?" They're like, "Oh my God, yes, I love Sasuke. He's so cute. He's so strong. He's this and this." And I was like, I couldn't disagree because I was the same way. I had a huge thing for Sasuke. One of my friends who I wanted to join my podcast as well. Whenever we would go out and we see a Naruto game, she'd be like, "Oh, Sasuke was that dude. Sasuke is my dude. He still is my dude." And I'm like, yeah, because Sasuke was amazing. Didn't like Sasuke, and I know there's a lot of people that hate Sasuke because it's like, oh, after what happens, and he turns his back on his friends and his village. It's like, when you find out what happens, and then you're like, and I couldn't hate him. 'Cause I was like, I get it. You, like, they cause you so much pain and suffering, and it's like anybody would react like that if you found out, what eventually happens. Like, I couldn't even hate him. I felt sorry for him. I just wanted someone to just help Sasuke. That's why, hand good job to Naruto. Because Naruto was like, no, you're my friend. Even though you're going through this phase right now, I'm not gonna let you go through this alone. You're my friend. We're gonna do this together. So that's it. That's basically it. That is everything I wanted to talk about. That's my list of my favorite female and male characters of anime. So I was planning on doing one next week. We'll see how that goes. But I probably still will do it, and there, hopefully, my friend will be able to join me like this time. We'll be talking about our most hated anime characters. Characters in anime we just cannot stand. We're just like, oh, you just need to die. Cause trust me, I already started making my list, and there's quite a few. I didn't even think there was that many, and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I hate this character. Oh, I hate this character too. I was like, oh man. I was like, oh, and then somebody list, I was like, oh, I actually have a bigger list than I thought I was gonna have. Okay. But yeah, that will be the next episode. That would be my most hated anime characters so far. Because, I mean, like you said, there's more animes coming out, so you never know. I might add to add more people to my list. But that's about it. Thank you everyone for listening to the podcast, and I will see you all in my next episode. Everyone have a great Friday, and all right, that's the end of that. Bye.